In this episode, we will learn some popular prompt techniques. The most simple kind of prompt is a zero-shot prompt, where we give the instructions to the model without any examples of expected output or what good looks like. This technique can work very well for simple tasks where we can rely on model's internal knowledge or when model has been fine-tuned to answer the queries providing the desired details and desired format. For many complex tasks where accuracy and precision of output are critical, few short prompting can be used. In this technique, we provide the model with 1 to 5 examples of what good looks like. When we do this, we provide a mini training dataset right in the body of our prompt for answering the queries. This is a recommended approach for improving consistency and reliability in output's quality and format. The third popular technique is chain of thought prompting, where we add instructions to guide the model to follow step by step reasoning. This can be very beneficial for mathematical problems, logical reasoning, planning activities, or multi constraint decisions. Many advanced reasoning models from Anthropic, OpenAI, or Amazon Nova already come with complex reasoning abilities and may not need a lot of chain of thought prompting. But for smaller models, this technique is essential for any query that requires logical reasoning. Role based prompting is another technique where we assign a role to the model. This helps the model assume a particular viewpoint or expertise when responding to our queries. This is especially useful in domain specific queries or when we want to enhance creativity. Let us learn some of these prompt techniques by seeing them in action. I will run this demo entirely on my local laptop, and for that, I have downloaded Anaconda, which is an open source Python distribution for data science and AI projects. It can help you bundle the packages and create isolated environments for your projects. I will use Anaconda to open up a Jupyter Lab environment on my local laptop because I will demonstrate the prompt techniques using a Jupyter notebook. For the large language model, I will run Meta's Llama 3 8 billion parameter model locally on my machine. And for that, I have downloaded Olama, which is an open source AI runtime for running open weight large language models on any machine. I have a laptop that has a GPU and 32 GB of RAM, but you can run this locally even if you have a CPU and at least 16 GB of RAM. After downloading and installing both these softwares, I was able to interact with Olama using a terminal window. So here I ran the command Olama run Llama 3, which downloaded the Llama 3 8 billion parameter model on my machine and it ran it locally. You can see it even gave me a chat window to interact with it. I asked it, what is the capital of France? And it gave me an answer. You can also have commands such as Olama list to list the models that are downloaded and stored on your laptop. So as a first step, we will run the Jupyter Lab environment. I have already created a Jupyter notebook to demonstrate the various prompt techniques we learned about in this session. This notebook is running on a Python kernel. And as a first step, we will install Olama client libraries for interacting with the Olama model that is locally running on my machine. And you can make an inference call against the locally hosted endpoint using this API olama.chat. You can pass the Llama 3 model name and the prompt that you want to run against this endpoint. The first prompt that we have is an example of zero-shot prompting. It is a very simple prompt that instructs the model to generate a blog post on healthy living. So we have the blog post, and for such a simple prompt, it does look like a pretty decent blog post. It has a few sections on why healthy living matters and practical tips for healthy living, additional tips for healthy lifestyle, etc. This was a good start to our blog post, but I have some very specific requirements that I want to fulfill. I want this blog post to be focused on providing guidance to people over 50 years old, and I also want its structure to be such that it has three broad categories on food, exercise, and spiritual regeneration. I want 5 recommendations under each of these categories. So as you can see, I have updated my prompt with this revised instruction. And I can see that the model has incorporated a revised prompt. The title itself says Embracing Healthy Living After 50. And in the body of the blog post, I read that it says, in this blog post, we will explore 3 essential areas of food, exercise, and spiritual regeneration and provide 5 recommendations each to help you live your best life after 50. And after that, I see we have a section on food, exercise, and spiritual regeneration with 5 bullet points under each. So, here in this example, we saw that by being more specific with our instruction, we were able to guide the model in not only providing the right kind of content, but also in the structure that we desire. However, I felt that this version of the blog post was very basic and slightly boring. I want a little more creativity in the blog, as if it were written by a wellness coach who himself is 50 years old and is also funny. I would also like to make sure that it sounds as if wellness coach is writing from their own perspective. So I've updated the prompt. I've used role-based prompting technique. I have also added instruction to write the blog post on healthy living for people over 50, reflecting on your own experiences. Rest of the instruction remains the same. So this version of the blog post reads, as I sit here in my cozy cat-filled home office, surrounded by photos of my gorgeous grandkids, I am reminded that age is just a number. And then it says, at 52, I have learned a thing or two about prioritizing my health. I'm excited to share these gems with you. And then I see that the rest of the structure is pretty much the same. However, there is a bit of humor in the titles, Get Moving Gently and Food for Thought. So, by assigning the role to the model, we were able to help it assume that role and be more creative and have the perspective of that persona when creating the output. In this next example, we will combine a few prompting techniques such as few shot prompting, role based prompting, and chain of thought prompting to create an AI experience for school children to learn mathematics. We will begin by assigning a role to the model. You are a math tutor who solves math problems and explains each step clearly. So, this is an example of role based prompting and also chain of thought prompting because we are advising the model to explain each step clearly. And then we give detailed instructions for solving the mathematical problems. Follow this format for every answer. Restate the key numbers and relationships, set up the equation, solve step by step, give the final numeric answer. And then we provide 3 examples of what good looks like. This is an example of few shot prompting where we have 3 mathematical problems And each of these problems has been solved using the instructions we gave above. Now I have created this prompt and I want to use this prompt to solve a problem, which is a car travels 180 kilometers in 3 hours at a constant speed. What is its speed in kilometer per hour? So I will augment this problem to the prompt and run this query. And we have the model's response, and I see that it has followed the 4 steps. The first step is to restate the numbers. So it says the distance traveled is 180 kilometers and the time taken is 3 hours. Then it states the equation, which is speed is distance over time. Then it solves the problem, which is 180 over 3 is 60. And then it states the answer, which is the car's speed is 60 kilometer per hour.